Welcome to Truth, Money, and Freedom. Today is Wednesday, the 21st of August, 2019. Hey gang, I've got a whole string of stories here, but if I'm going to follow a common theme here, I'm going to call this video Open Secrets. Because there's a lot of things that are out there that are very well known, but they still don't play into a narrative that the mainstream media will either work with or the politicians will not work with, the bankers won't work with, captains of industry won't work with, because they're all conspiracy theories. Let's talk about some of these. First off, I'll start out with a story, and by the way, I'll make this as quick as I can. I don't want to make this a half an hour long video. Solomon, if Trump declassifies these 10 documents, Democrats are doomed. Okay, so we all know about these documents, which is the FBI and the Department of Justice and other players, actually committing crimes during the quote-unquote Russian probe. So that's an open secret. The fact that Obama used these agencies to spy on Trump while he was running for president, also an open secret. We're not supposed to talk about it. The mainstream doesn't want to really talk about this very much. But I'll get to a point at the end of this. Let me just talk about open secrets. Next one. 5 people shot, killed in 24 hours in New York City. It's all illegal activity. Whether or not you take away guns, criminals will not give up their guns. Only law-abiding citizens will give up their guns. So it's an open secret that taking away guns will not solve the problem. Now, it solves another problem that has not happened yet, which is what Thomas Jefferson said we should do, which is refresh the tree of liberty about every 20 years. And that means the people removing by force corrupt elements of their government. That's what they're worried about with guns. It's not about people killing each other. They don't care. In fact, I think they like it. I think they like it when these mass shootings happen. Indeed, I would even go as far to say that a lot of these seem like false flags. And by the way, do not misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not saying these incidents did not happen. I'm just saying that the MO or modus operandi of the shooter may be very different from what the media espouses it is. And the people involved in the shooting, there's usually more than one person involved in these shootings, and that is never let out of the bag. I could go into multiple shootings where there was more than one person, according to eyewitness testimony, the day of the shooting, but it's not allowed out. The narrative is always set one shooter, lone man shooter, just like Oswald, in JFK. Despite the fact the Senate investigation hearings on assassinations found that there were 2 shooters in the JFK assassination. But that was, I think, about 8 years after they had the court hearings, the famous court hearings. I can't recall the name of them. Jim Garrison, maybe? But there were actually, the Senate found that there were 2 shooters because they were looking at evidence that was not allowed in court. Very strong evidence, very damning evidence that literally was not allowed in court. So I digress. I want to keep on my focus here. So basically we're talking about guns here. Taking away guns does not literally solve the problem of people killing other people. It just doesn't do it. Now they'll say, well, it makes it harder for them. We already know it doesn't. Japan, Australia, England, and other nations, they just go with knives or with, acid or sarin gas, whatever. They'll always find something. Okay, next one. Open secret. Mercedes caught spying on drivers with tracking devices, sending info to bailiffs. Well, the fact of the matter is, virtually everything you have is spying on you. It's an open secret. Shoot. Your cell phone. It's spying on you. Lots of computer systems are spying on you. There's camera systems, in traffic lights in many states. They're spying on you. They're tracking you. It's an open secret. It's not a conspiracy theory. I'm a tech. So I know this stuff. I work with this stuff. I have to understand it, especially with the 911 centers. Believe me, there's tracking going on all the time, and we buy the very technology that tracks us. We go out and just buy it. Have in or What's that called? AutoStar or whatever in your GM vehicle. It's tracking you. It's tracking you. It's not only tracking to you, it's listening to your conversations in the car. See that microphone that's right above your head in your GM vehicle? If you've purchased one in the last 10 years or so, maybe 15 years, they listen to conversations. They're tracking you. They look at where you stopped for gasoline. They look at your driving habits. They actually they're interested in the radio stations you listen to. It's all kinds of really awesome information comes out of that from a marketing perspective, but also from a law enforcement perspective and a government perspective. Because once again, the whole idea behind the Patriot Act and the Patriot Act 2 was classifications of threat assessment. So your American government is literally doing a threat assessment on every single citizen of the United States and indeed most citizens of the world. They want to see what kind of a threat you are to the government, to their power. So that's what this whole apparatus is being set up for, this big brother system. They need to know. Okay, next story. The extinction of Christians in the Middle East, an open secret. The whole system is turning against Christians. And it doesn't matter what country you're in one form or another, they're vilifying Christians. It's an open secret. Christians are a threat to the New World Order. Guys, I don't think I need to actually go into this anymore on the Christian side. If you guys want more stories on that, I'll be very happy to provide them for you. Okay, celebrophilia. That's worshiping of celebrities, basically. And then everything they say, because you're so enthralled with them, everything that they say is the word, is the word of God. Alec Baldwin, is one. Jane Fonda. Even James Woods. There's a lot of actors that have huge followings with people that just literally fall over every word they put out on Twitter. Trump is another one. So basically, the article headline is "Forget knowledge and wisdom, listen to the stars." And that would be the same thing I would say about it too. Basically, if you listen to these people, and some of them are so dumb. And I'm going to go into a couple of things that the media does, and I'm going quickly. I'm hurrying it up. Matt Damon. You know how the media absolutely loves to talk about how smart this guy is. He's got 165 IQ or something like that, and he's an extremely intelligent individual. So we're supposed to listen to anything he says, apparently. And once again, it's not like, I'm making this stuff up. Trust me, if you look this stuff up, you look up Matt Damon IQ. In Hollywood, he's generally regarded as the smartest guy in Hollywood. But the fact of the matter is, if he is against guns, then he has not thought about literally the Second Amendment and what freedoms it affords the people and what they can do about their government should it go awry. Now, I understand that we're on the fringes of something here that we shouldn't be talking about. This is the kind of stuff YouTube will take down and call hate speech, or a right to incite violence or something. But the rights afforded by the Second Amendment are very clear. The right of the people to bear arms shall not be infringed. Period. And that's what the federal government does all the time. And if you have stars that literally say, we're talking about celebrities, saying, we need to take away guns. It's a big problem. We need to take away the guns. Literally, they are very, very dumb. There is a very specific reason why that was put in the Second Amendment. They don't care. They don't care about logic. They don't care about reason. What they care about is feelings. If they are basing their decisions on the hippocampus and not on the frontal lobe, they are not smart. So Matt Damon, I submit to you, sir, if you ever watch this video, by the way, I love you in the Born Again series, but you're not a very smart person. If you are basing your decisions on taking away guns on your emotions, you cannot do that. You're not supposed to be making any decisions based on emotions. You have to inject logic as well. You have to think about it. Critical thinking is necessary here. Okay, I don't want to continue on. And by the way, I'm sorry that I ripped on Matt Damon. Actually, he's one of my favorite actors. I don't like his politics, though. I wish, he would keep that to himself. Okay, just when you think you own private property. And let's talk about another open secret. And by the way, this story is a very different kind of story, and I read it, but I'm going to use it as an example in the wrong way. You don't own private property. You don't own anything. The government owns everything. This is an open secret. Stop paying your property taxes. You'll very quickly find out who owns your property. Don't pay the taxes on your vehicle. Find out what happens then. You see who owns your property. They'll just take it. They, being the government, would it be county, city, or state, will take your property from you, and they will sell it to someone for what taxes you owe on it. As long as you pay the taxes, you can lease it. It's not yours, you're just leasing it. It actually belongs to the government. Even though you paid for it, you worked for it. You buy a house and you pay that sucker off in 30 years, you still don't own it. You'll never own it. This is a fact. I mean, there are some states that don't have property taxes, so don't get me wrong. There might be 4 of them, I think, in the United States that don't have property taxes. And I have to think very heavily about whether or not I want to live in Missouri. Because we do have property taxes here, and I am tired of it. Absolutely tired of it. But they make up for it in other arenas when you go into states that have no property taxes. They have much higher sales taxes in many cases. But there are other mechanisms too. So basically, just when you think you own your private property, and by the way, when it comes to selling or when it comes to the government has another purpose for your property, eminent domain. They can take it from you at what they say is fair market value, and they never give you fair market value. So government does not pay full price for anything, except when it comes to paying off their crony friends, then they pay full price. Okay. Open secret. Epstein used network of shell corporations and companies and associates for sex trafficking ring, lawsuits claim. Okay, here's an open secret. Yes, there are a network of shell companies and associates. The Clinton Initiative is one of them. There are many others, many others. We can get into this another time. The CIA, the FBI, judges, and politicians are all involved in the shell corporations and are associates for sex trafficking, particularly child sex slavery. This is an open secret. We all know this. We all know they're involved, but if you talk about it, you're a conspiracy theorist. It's just, no. Judges involved in that? No, it can't happen. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Prosecutors involved in that ring. And I'm not talking about their partaking of the product necessarily, but they protect the system. They protect the network by what they do in court, their actions in court. Now, I am holding judgment on a couple of things here. First of all, Epstein's gone. I know people are saying he's still alive, living on an island with Timothy McVeigh or whatever. Okay, that may be. But for all intents and purposes, he is dead. So they announced his death. They, basically have said, the autopsy reports show that he, hung himself, even though, they're saying, no, that the bones that were broken are more consistent with a strangulation than with a hanging. It doesn't matter. He's dead. So whether it was murder or suicide, that probably matters. But the network, that's what, if you want to drain the swamp, this is literally how you do it. You take down the pedophile network, because there are so many people involved in that, and that literally is what keeps the swamp together, where they're not snitching on each other. It's honor among thieves, honor among criminals. So that pedophile network, if you can take it down, you literally drain the swamp. So let's see if that happens. We had a roundtable discussion about it. I am holding my reservations on this because killing Epstein basically kind of cripples some of this. Now, other people are saying they got all the information they needed out of Epstein. I don't know. I don't know. But there are people who do know, but it is an open secret that the sex trafficking ring, particularly child sex slavery, is supported by senators and representatives in the U.S. government, by judges, and by presidents. I don't know if Trump is involved in this, but I strongly suspect that Obama was involved in this, and I know for a fact that George Bush Sr. was in it, and I know the Clintons are in it. Now, George Bush Jr., I don't know. There's no direct or even indirect evidence other than his relationship with his family that he may be involved in it. Um, am I making wild assertions, wild, crazy, conspiracy theory laden assertions? Maybe. Maybe I am. But there is a lot of indirect evidence for the stuff that I am talking about. And there's a lot of direct evidence too. So time will tell on that one. But it is an open secret that this is the swamp. This is it, gang. The pedophile network is the swamp. And part of it is Hollywood. But that's the part they seem to focus on the most. When you start getting to CEOs, captains of industry, hopefully it will lead to politicians. There's a lot of politicians involved in this. Guys, have you ever wondered why so many politicians are retiring at one time since Trump was elected? Think about it for a second. Now, I'm not saying that Trump's going to drain the swamp. The assertions that he made he was going to drain the swamp scared the piss out of a lot of people. So I suspect that that's probably directly linked or indirectly linked to the pedophilia network. Okay, I digress. I need to go on. Okay. Let's see. I know I told you guys I'm not going to focus so much on the economy anymore because, as far as I'm concerned, we are now in the end of the Keynesian economic cycle. The yield curve inversion has happened. It is literally, that's at a stopwatch, and it's anywhere from now to 24 months from now. We're in a massive recession, which leads to probably something worse. And I know that there's a possibility that can be averted by printing money, by lowering interest rates. I understand that, but that takes us into a hyperinflationary depression. We lose either way. It doesn't matter. But at any rate, this has been an indicator for a long time, which is the RV industry, recreational vehicles. It is crashing and burning hardcore right now. So basically, it's in trouble. And in fact, you can even see this graph right here, where this was covered, for the recession that started in '08 and went through to the beginning of 10, or actually the end of '09, is I think when they're saying the recession was over. But this is happening again now, and it's apparently really hard and fast right now. It's just like someone hit a switch, around the spring of this year. Where no one's buying RVs anymore. So spring is when RV sales go through the roof. So they're really worried about this year, and it is a recession indicator. Guys, there's literally probably 100 recession indicators, but the RV one is one that I was actually following back in 2008 as well. Okay, so it's an open secret that we are going into a recession, but it has to be Trump's fault. That's what the media says. Now, the media is saying we're going into recession, but it's Trump's fault. No. The open secret is the Federal Reserve, along with all politicians that control purse strings in Washington over the last 20 years, are to blame. So it's the Federal Reserve, along with every politician that ever voted to spend more money. They're all to blame. The captains of industry that are lobbying politicians for their product they become a customer, of the government, or the government becomes a customer of them. It goes both ways, gang. They're lining their pockets with money in Washington, and they give them a lot of money for all kinds of things because they fund campaigns for the politicians, and that includes the banks. So open secret, basically is that the recession is coming, and every indicator is flashing red. So, like I said, I don't know if it's a good idea to even cover it anymore. I can cover a lot of other stuff now, now that we have that indicator. Okay, White House preps for GOP elite for mild recession before Election Day. Okay, open secret. They're starting to admit we're going to go into a recession, and most likely before elections of 2020. Like I said, it's an open secret now, but it's mild. It's going to be a mild recession, apparently. No, it's going to be a horrific recession that leads into a depression, probably hyperinflationary. And it's not going to be pretty, and prepping is essential for anyone who wants to survive what's coming. And that's my advice to you. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know how bad it's going to get, but I can theorize how bad it's going to get. Okay, next one. There's no way out. Johnson slams undemocratic Irish backstop in letter to European Council. Open secret is the fact that there is a lot of politics happening in the UK right now over the Brexit. Now, Boris Johnson here has said October 31st, that's the date, they're leaving, no matter what, deal or no deal. But have we heard this before? Yes, we have. And Theresa May would not leave without a deal, and any deal that she presented to Parliament was a very bad deal for Parliament. It was a good deal for the EU, bad for the UK. Those were the only terms that she even found acceptable to even bring to Parliament. She was playing her role. She did what she was expected to do, what she was told to do, what her purpose was to keep the UK in the EU for a period of time. That was her only role. And she did that, and she, said, she regrets she wasn't able to do it, and, this and that and the other thing. But she will be well taken care of, everyone. Don't worry about it, because she did what the Queen asked of her. Now, if the Queen says to Boris, you're the one who's taking us out, and you're the one who's going to bear the, the stigma or get the praise, it hardly matters. Boris, I do believe, was brought in to actually Brexit, and I do believe it's going to be October 31st. So basically, open secret. Boris was the Queen's pick to actually get Britain out of the UK. So, and I do think that that's probably exactly what's going to happen, and also keep that in mind for the world markets. Okay, gang, I covered a lot of concepts, a lot of ideas, a lot of different stories, but around the same theme, open secrets. For instance, if you believe JFK was assassinated by more than one shooter, you're a conspiracy theorist, right? But it's an open secret. The Senate already determined this in 1978, no less. 1978. It was determined there were two shooters. So, but if you believe what the Senate found, in 1978, you're a conspiracy theorist. Open secret, more than one shooter. 9/11. There are so many aspects to 9/11 that are an open secret. And in fact, I don't want to get into it on this video. When you talk about 9/11, there is a strong possibility, especially if you don't believe the government story, there's a strong possibility YouTube could take down your video and do a community guideline strike because of the Military Commissions Act of 2006. If you say the government was involved in 9/11, if you say that, you're a terrorist. That's from the Military Commissions Act of 2006, passed on September 28, 2006. So what does that matter? So I'm a terrorist. So you're a terrorist. So literally more than half of Americans, thinking Americans, are terrorists now because they may not believe the government story on 9/11. What does that mean? Well, on December 31st of 2011, there was another law passed. It's called the National Defense Authorization Act. And that says what the government can do to you if they find you are a terrorist, if they feel you're a terrorist, without jurisprudence. No jury of your peers, no official charges. They can kill you and not even tell your family what they've done. You just disappear off the face of the planet. Just like that. National Defense Authorization Act. So if they feel you're a terrorist. So these laws matter. Sometimes you have to connect the dots years later. 2006, 2011. You've got 5 years in between, but those two laws are like a hand in a glove. Look into that, folks. There's a lot of open secrets out there, and you'll be called a conspiracy theorist if you believe in them, but they're true. The mechanism to actually prevent people from looking into this or believing many of the things that are happening in the world is the government saying you're crazy, you're a conspiracy nut, you're a conspiracy theorist. This is why I need to close this off because I got to get some work done. But this is why I don't like Sean Hannity. And I know Sean Hannity is loved by many people. I do like the man, and I think he is a relatively good man, but his hands are tied at Fox News, in my opinion, to talk about 9/11. He had people on 9/11, and he wouldn't even let them speak. He would just called them conspiracy nuts and conspiracy theorists, and just shouted this at them while they're trying to, get a point across about 9/11, some kind of forensic evidence, some kind of scientific evidence that the government lied about. And so, I mean, it's just this is like I said, a control mechanism. It's done by the media. It's done by the government. I remember when, no, I can't get into this right now. Guys, I'll do a 9/11 video at some point in time talking about some of these strange coincidences of 9/11 that make it look like the government may have had more involvement in it than they said. And I know that most of you probably understand this already. 9/11 truth videos have virtually been wiped off of YouTube. They're just not allowed there. They just get wiped out. And then channels that actually have them have been wiped out as well. So I have to be very careful about that. And like I said, other platforms coming soon. American Man and I were just talking about this yesterday. By the way, one more thing. I know this has been a long video and I need to go, but I do have a backup channel, and it's on Library. Now, Library is another social media, video multimedia platform. But it is peer-to-peer, and it is on a blockchain. So if Truth, Money, and Freedom ever goes down on YouTube, just vanishes, you can still see all videos ever created by Truth, Money, and Freedom in Library. So all you'd have to do is put in Truth, Money, and Freedom podcast. We'll come right up, subscribe to us, and then you'll start downloading all the videos on your computer. That's the way that type of network works. However, like I said, BitChute right now is looking like I may not go there. DLive and DTube is something I may be going to. Even though I'm not big on doing live videos, it would be, my honor to do them at some point in time if I could connect with you guys in immediate fashion. That would be really cool. Okay, but that's it for now. But I literally wanted to talk about open secrets in this video, discuss the concept of open secrets, how they're dealt with on the media and political levels, which is literally finger pointing, name calling. Here we go. Okay, dictator, misogynist, tyrant, racist, criminal, traitor, authoritarian, Russian collaborator, spy, xenophobe, bigot, conspirator, lawbreaker, white supremacist. They just literally call you names. They're calling Trump names from the media and, of course, those in the Democratic Party who are wanting to be president of the United States. And sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. It's literally about whether or not you can take it. Can you take the name calling? Can you take it if you told your friend, hey, listen, I'm not sure the government's official story on 9/11 is true. And he literally points his finger at you and he says, you're a conspiracy nut. Can you take it? Can you take it? Can you actually offer up some evidence? Here's the weird part. When you want to talk about proof and you actually give them proof, you print out documents, you print out, images, you print out, like, for instance, architectural analysis of structural, for, buildings collapsing, and they literally won't take it and they still call you a conspiracy theorist. That's called willful ignorance. There is nothing you can do for those folks. If they literally choose to believe something that is wrong and not look into the evidence showing that it's wrong, that's willful ignorance, and there is nothing you can do for those folks. So, but the truth is the truth, and we are Truth, Money, and Freedom, and we have truth at the beginning of our name for a reason. It is the most important thing. It comes before money. It even comes before freedom. But truth, money, and freedom always go together. If we can have truth, basically, I think the world would be a better place. If we have, free money, not free money, I'm sorry, I mean honest money, which goes with truth. If we had honest money, we wouldn't be in this situation with our economy. It would have happened. We would have had free markets. And gang, we don't have free markets anywhere. And freedom, that goes along with everything else. Basically the freedom to express yourself, the freedom to bear arms. These things are things that are constantly under threat. the freedom to talk about your opinion without being put in jail or being called, a conspiracy theorist, or worse, being called a terrorist because you're looking into evidence and you don't see the things the way the government does, and you're, because of your exposure to evidence and actually researching, and then suddenly you're saying the government story on this just isn't true, be it JFK, 9/11, Murrah building in Oklahoma City. I mean, any one of those things, and things around the world too. Look at the Gulf of Tonkin. You were a conspiracy theorist if you said that didn't happen. you know and now the government admits, yeah, that was a made up story, but they called you a conspiracy theorist for a long time. Now here's the dangerous one. Now you're a terrorist if you don't believe whatever the government says. Now, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say it like that. That's not true. What's the truth is, according to the Military Commissions Act of 2006, you are a terrorist if you do not believe the government story on 9/11. You're a terrorist. So what they can do to you is covered in the National Defense Authorization Act, December 31st, 2011. Okay, we'll do more stories on that later. Thank you very much for coming to Truth, Money, and Freedom. Thank you for watching our videos. Thank you for liking our videos. Thank you for commenting and sharing our videos. We do appreciate each and every one of you. I'm going to try and get more videos out very, very soon. You guys take care, and may God bless each and every one of you.